Yo, what's up and welcome back. In today's video, Calvin and I are going to head downstream in search of some food. After a long night's rest, I wake up to Calvin. He has drawn in every page of my notebook, so I acted as if I was okay with it, because if I'm being honest, he's actually pretty good at it. So after having my little chat with him, we decided to head on down the stream so we can try to find ourselves some food. But first, we have to build ourselves a spear so we have something to kill the animals with. So now that we have our spear, let's head on down and see what we can find. First, before I move any farther down the stream, I'm going to go ahead and take me a drink of water because my mouth is dry. I really wasn't having the best of luck finding fish in the stream so far, so we went ahead and walked on down. We ended up running into a waterfall, so I had to backtrack upstream. Don't mind those muddy butts there, they're just friendly. I was losing hope, and out of the corner of my eye, I seen a fish jump up out of the water, and another one kept jumping. I started to have hope again that finally I can eat. I seen how fast they were moving, so I didn't want to risk trying to catch them and miss my chance with the spear, so I decided to build a fish trap so that way I could catch as many fish as I wanted. As I was building my trap, I ran out of sticks, so I scrambled to try to find some more. Finally, I found all of my sticks and finished my trap. So after I had it built, I gave it a few minutes just to see if I could catch anything, because at this point, I was just starving. It was unbelievable. Out of the corner of my eye, I seen a deer. So I took my chance and threw my spear at it, and I completely freaking missed it. I had no other option but to chase it. Little did I know it was going to take me on the run of my life. I finally had another chance to take a throw at it, and I completely missed again. But that didn't stop me. I thought that I lost it for a second, and then I tried to take another shot at it. I completely missed again, so I decided to just let it go. I was still starving, but I seen a golf cart, so I decided to check it out, and I ended up finding some ink resin for the 3D printer. I accidentally knocked over one of the transits, so I decided to head on out of there. I was back on the hunt for food. I was on my way back to check out the fish trap to see if I had caught anything, and I ran into a deer. Turns out it was a whole family. I sneak up and I'm slowly trying to line up my shot. One of the deer stopped to take a drink, so then I take my shot. And boom, I ended up hitting it in the side of the ribs, and it took off running on me. It was my only spear, so I had to run after it. I lost sight of it a couple times, but it didn't stop me. I was determined to catch this deer. It finally stopped and stood still, so I took the chance to pull out my axe, and I snuck up behind it. Pulled my spear out of its rib cage, and I just started swinging on it with my axe, and I finally knocked it out. So I skinned it up, and I was so hungry that I just had to eat a piece of the meat. I was starving. I was not proud of that moment. So I collected the rest of the meat, and I told Calvin, I'm sorry you had to see that, buddy. Let's head on back and check out the fish trap so we can eat. I got back to the fish trap, and sadly there were no fish inside, so I decided to head on back to the camp. And as I was walking back to camp, I stumbled into a campsite. It appeared that people had passed away, so I started looting all their stuff to take back to camp. And oh boy, did I find some good stuff. I found the modern axe, I found some MREs, I found some energy drinks, I found all kinds of stuff. I didn't want to hang out too long because I was a little scared, so I went ahead and went on back to base. Little did I know that that was right down from our camp that we had set up. It was time to wind down for a minute. So after I got done winding down, I went ahead and hung the meat up on the drying rack so we could have something to eat later. Calvin decided to sit down and take a rest for a little bit. I was super exhausted and still hungry, but I decided to go cut down a couple trees so that way I could have some logs to build some storage for all the things that we found down at the campsite. I found the spot I wanted to put my shelving, so I started building. Got the shelving done, now I just have to store the scrap pieces. Then I started to organize everything on the shelf. I finally got everything looking nice on the shelf. Told Calvin not to be messing with all the food and eating all the food. He kindly reminded me that I was tired and that I should probably drink an energy drink. He also recommended that I should probably take a bite to eat real quick. So I decided to eat an MRE and save the food on the drying rack for another time. Then I decided to build a rock storage. I finally got it built and I decided to fill it up with rocks. And we also needed a stick storage, so I went ahead and built one of those as well. And I went ahead and filled it up as well because we're going to need it for the rabbit traps. I went a little ways down the hill so I could make some rabbit traps to hopefully catch some food for in the morning. Once I had all the traps built, I noticed I had caught something. I ended up catching a squirrel, so I went ahead and skinned it up. It was getting late, so I headed on back up towards camp. I added a few things back to storage. Then after that, I had a 3-armed, 3-legged woman stare me in my eyeballs and then run off. That didn't seem to bother Calvin. As soon as I decide to sit down, Calvin stands up and starts pointing at the muddy butts. I guess he's afraid of the muddy butts. I'm not sure why, but he is. As Calvin ran off and hid, I stayed to cook me a steak and sat down before bedtime. So after I ate, I decided to build a birdhouse, so that way we could have feathers to build arrows in the future. Once I got the birdhouse built, I went ahead and added some more sticks to the storage. And I went ahead and filled up the rest of the shelf with things I didn't need. After a long, tiresome day, I decided to go ahead and tell Calvin good night. He was already asleep. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, consider subscribing, or hitting that follow button if you're not over on YouTube. I do appreciate you guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.